Hey guys, Nick Rodriguez here. Another episode of interesting conversations, Convos with Nick. So I sat down with this engineer that works with Uber. I won't say his name. Try not to give too many clues about who he is. But we sat down for about a little bit less than an hour. This guy was fascinating for me. I understood maybe 1% of what he said, but I could follow about 90% of what he said. Have you ever talked to one of those really smart engineers? So he made it sound like he leads the mapping part of Uber. And he said he's been working on maps for like 10 years doing that. So it's really a fascinating conversation. He's got all these apps that he's built that he can run simulations of Uber rides, even though he's not actually taking the ride. And so we talked about that. But the interesting part was a few interesting parts. The first interesting part was he brought up he brought up Google buying Lyft. That's what was his idea. And he said to get into automated cars. Now, a lot of people have been thinking that the driverless cars, I can't say these big words, so driverless cars are going to be taken over in the next couple of years. He thinks that it's going to be at least 10, 15, 20 or more. A big part of that is that the mapping for that to happen is a completely different game. It's way more complicated. It's way more intense. It costs way more money, way more amount, a bigger amount. The mapping has to be done completely over again to do the automated cars. Like, they see everything. Of course, it's going to be way better than humans, but they have to they're mapping what can move and what cannot move. You should have talked to him. I wish I could record these conversations, but I can't. So anyways, the amount of money that it would take to do that is enormous. And so he said that even if they, what was the word that he used? Juiced. I think that means like get a bunch of capital from people and do it. So anyways, it's going to take a long time to even do that. It's pretty hard to do. And even at that point, it's only going to be on certain roads. The human being part of it, which is a lot of people's concern, is still going to be they're not going to really get rid of human drivers, Uber. This is just his thoughts, his thinking. Because what they will do right now, Uber does a lot of promotions to get new drivers. So what they would do is just stop doing that. So I guess they really have to try hard to get a lot of drivers to keep up with the demand. And so what that would do, they would just, throttle that as the automated cars take over. So there's really not that huge fear of all the Uber drivers going out of business and stuff like that. So that was interesting. We got into he lives in I won't say where he lives. I probably said too much already. But he is super involved in the environment protection. He made up all these codes, and he said something that he knows how to automate things. Engineering, I don't know what the technical stuff of it. But so he mapped out where all the pollution was happening. So he's fighting crime on the weekend. He's like Bruce Wayne, billionaire, fighting crime and that. So he talked about, I can't even explain what he does. So he does all this environmental protection stuff. Then he also is in the political stuff. He loves this stuff. He's finding these politicians that are breaking all these laws and should be fined, but he's bringing up this attention up to the state, and the state is able to fine all these people, and they're making all this money. I told him, hey, you gotta start a business where you work for the state's finding. So he's finding these things because he's going through all the records. He's mining paper records for it's incredible. And so anyways, he got into that. I probably can't articulate it enough. So very fascinating. So then I find out he's married. He does all this stuff on the weekend. He works like crazy during the week. So he's apologized. He's telling me that he has to apologize to his wife and let her know that, hey, it's not always going to be like this. In a couple months, or a couple years, it'll be different. So then he talks about the company Uber going public. So he thinks that's going to happen in the next year or two. And then I asked him a question because I don't know. And I asked him a question about, like, when a company like that goes public and the employees make all this money from however that works, stocks or whatever, what keeps them from leaving and the company like falling apart? And so he got into talking about the stocks, and I don't understand that stuff at all. I've never been a part of that life. And so he talked about that, like, say for instance, Google and Apple and all them, say somebody that's been no experience gets a job there, maybe they make $100,000. Say they have a few years experience, they make 120,000, 30,000. 5 years experience, 150,000. 7 years experience, 160,000. 10 years experience, 190,000. Something like that. Now, some way that stock is attached, they have reviews and performance stuff, but somehow he said something about like 1x, 1.5x, 2x of a stock or something, stock options, stock, all these different words. I have no idea what that means. But that they can actually, if they stay, they'll make double. Like 1x would be the same as what they get paid. So say 100,000, now they make it 200,000. 1.5, 100,000, 250,000. So forth and so forth. So some of these guys are making like $300,000, $400,000 because of the stock options. So that's what keeps them there. So, but anyways, I thought it was really interesting. If you guys have more information on any of these topics, please leave it in the comments below. Keep the conversation going. If you have any questions, I may or may not have gotten that information from him. There's so much, this is a 7-minute video. The conversation was like an hour long. It was very interesting. At one point I asked him, with all this extra work that he does, do you do that work because you like to, or because you feel like you have a duty to do something? He said part of it. I can't remember which part he said that he liked, but the part where he's like doing these software engineering stuff, setting up these automated systems, he feels a duty to do that because not very many people can do it. And so he makes a huge impact on like state government and situations like that by just doing a little bit, and he gets a big return. So he feels like he working for a company like Uber, that is kind of working for the capitalists. So he does that most of the time. So if he could take 10% of his time and give it away for free and stuff, that's why he does it. So very interesting. Like I said, please subscribe, stay in touch with these conversations, share, like it or don't like it, whatever. But if you guys have any insight on this, or if you can explain like stocks and stuff better and what I'm trying to explain, please do so. All right, guys. Peace. Love.